If they stole upwards of $19 billion in Minnesota, think how much fraud, graft, and grift is going on in Chicago and Illinois. Well, we may have our first indication. Federal prosecutors have filed charges accusing multiple foreign nationals of orchestrating elaborate Medicare and health insurance fraud schemes that built government programs and private insurers out of more than $1 billion through fraudulent claims for medical equipment and diagnostic tests that were never provided. Federal prosecutors charged a Kazakhstan national, Borat, with conspiracy to commit money laundering in connection with Medicare fraud programs. He's charged with the foreign national in question, apparently the kingpin, charged with taking control of a legitimate Kentucky-based company and using it to submit approximately $666 million in fraudulent Medicare claims for continuous glucose monitors and catheters between March and August of 2024. This guy entered the U.S. in May of 2023 on a summer work visa and never left, even though it expired in September of 2023. So we're just getting started. Court records show employee FedEx checks to addresses in suburban Chicago. One employee reportedly told investigators they once misplaced $1 million check issued to the company, later received a $2,000 bonus upon locating it. We're just scratching the surface, I have a feeling. These are the sorts of topics with particular local flavor that I expect you will find our next guest digging into. You know them well from these airwaves and elsewhere. Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson, they're the hosts of the new show for the weekday lineup beginning today at 11 a.m. Goes from 11 a.m. to noon, weekdays here on AM 560 The Answer. The Real Story with Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson. Ladies, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having
us on, Dan.
Yeah. So Jeannie's on the phone right now. I'm in the studio, but we're going to be together, obviously, at 11 a.m.
Actually, I'm pulling my last batch of cookies out of the oven. Sorry.
Oh, wonderful.
For the grandkids.
Wonderful. Okay, Tammy, why not? All right. So now, Amy, I know this is a difficult time for you to launch a new show with,
Why?
Because your colleague and BFF, Don Lemon, is facing these legal travails.
I know.
I heard you screaming "Free Don Lemon" when he was arraigned on Friday.
Well, I'm printing up the T-shirts now, Free Don, and I have been texting with him, so I'm trying to get him to come on the show because, yes, we were friends, but he was always a bit of a diva. I don't remember when we both, if you guys remember, when we both worked at Channel 5, there was a gang shooting in Park Ridge, and he got there with the crew, and he refused to get out of the live truck. And he said, I'm above this. We should be above this for local news. We are not going to report on a gang shooting. And I called him. I said, it's Park Ridge. Hillary Clinton grew up there. Harrison Ford. This is not the west side of Chicago. This is Park Ridge. So he wouldn't get out of the car. So Phil Rogers had to come and do the story. And he sat in the truck and read a book. So he's always been a little bit of a diva. But journalism 101, he has to know what the FACE Act is. And he didn't do it because he's self-serving. He's trying to promote Don Lemon and sell his T-shirts and his mugs, that have Don Lemon TV on it. And this time he's going to have to pay for his mistakes.
Even Fredo Cuomo broke bad on him too, saying he wouldn't have done it that way. He's not sure if it's rise to the level of illegality, but I mean, he's only a Yale law grad. It does, but yeah, he wouldn't have done that way either. I mean, I wonder if that Park Ridge story you relay, Amy, speaks to Don Lemon's animus towards honkies generally.
Oh. It was a gang shooting. That's all I can remember. And the victim was a Hispanic male. But now he's just always been a little different. But what made it worse is Keith Ellison, who's the #1 attorney in the state of Minnesota, didn't know what the FACE Act was. And it passed in 1994. But if you're in a newsroom with real journalists and real news directors, I remember them taking us in and saying, look, if you cover an abortion protest, they don't follow anyone into the clinic. You can't do that. If there's something going on at a church or protest where they disrupt a service, you cannot follow them in. You have to stay outside.
All right. So what else can we expect? Are we going to see one or both of you like at press conferences for Brandon Johnson asking difficult questions and things like that?
That is going to be me.
That's Amy's good. Amy can do that. But I do plan on going to the governor's budget address and reporting directly from there. in Springfield. So, yeah, no, we want to bring you the real story right there live as much as we can and bring issues forward that people just don't, there's not enough time in the day to actually cover all the stuff that should be covered at the state and local level in the state of Illinois. I mean, you can't do 4 hours of it, Dan, because there's so much else to cover at the national level. And so we're going to bring that to you. Yeah.
Well, that's good. I mean, because there's like we know these things are out there, but they're just more difficult to get their arms around in Illinois than perhaps any other state because of the layers of bureaucracy and the obstructionist nature that of the political class that they get away with. I'm talking just about, for example, the story I led this segment with, talking about finally we get a fraud indictment in the state. We know these programs are being frauded to the hundreds of millions of billions, if not billions of dollars.
Well, one of our weekly guests that they're always going to be on are the Edgar County Watchdogs. Now, when I had my nightly program on Sunday, they were guests every single week, and people were alarmed and shocked by what the Watchdogs uncovered. Well, we're going to continue that because their work needs to be highlighted, and people need to replicate it in their own communities.
And also, too, today, the real story is going to have the real story behind Brandon Johnson's sudden executive order that he signed on Saturday morning and what really happened between them and the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. I'm not going to give it away. This is called a tease. So you're going to have to listen in at 11 this morning to see the real story behind that, because
we talked about that earlier in the program, too, is Brandon Johnson said he worked with the Eileen O'Malley, O'Neill, O'Shaughnessy, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no, he didn't. I mean, it's sort of like, I'll be interested to hear how you think he gets over his skis thinking that she's going to go along with that when they clearly didn't consult her.
Yeah, there was a little bit of consultation. I'll save that for the 11 a.m. But all right. You guys are going to want to listen in definitely at 11 a.m. and every day, Monday through Friday from 11 to noon.
Yeah, and we also have Michelle LaFoya coming on, too, straight from Minnesota. What's going on? I'll tell you one thing. You set up a roadblock in my neighborhood. I'm following right through it. I'm not stopping.
With your freshly made cookies.
You mean like a roadblock, like an autonomous zone, like not like a law enforcement roadblock? Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, these citizen idiots who think that they can block the road, block me. You have to check me before I can proceed on my publicly funded street. Hell no. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and Tafoya coming out of the sports world, that's kind of fun. She is running for Senate, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
U.S. Senate, not for Amy Klobuchar's seat, but she's running for Tina Smith's seat. And we have a lot of questions to ask her, especially about the Somalian fraud and all that. So I'm looking forward to having her on. And I love her. She was always my idol. I always watched her growing up and wanted to be like her. Do you think that may make her feel old, Dan, if I ask her that?
Yes, yeah. Right. Yeah, I remember.
I grew up watching you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's.
No,
yes.
But I mean, later in the week, we're going to have Gordon Chang on and Steve Cortez and a whole line of great guests that will also focus on things that are happening here locally.
Yeah, Cortez has that new documentary on U of I admissions, right? That's what you're going to discuss. Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. So what about the Olympics, too? I know we were just talking about the Swedish team and the Associated Press. Yeah, the Associated Press is very concerned that the Swedish Winter Olympics team is mainly comprised of Swedes.
Wow, shocking.
And so I wanted you to weigh in on that as, a representative.
Well, I'm a Swedish princess, as you know, and have covered the Olympics before. But no, Swedes being Swedes on the Swedish team. Oh, I don't know. And when you grow up in Sweden, you learn how to snowshoe, you learn how to cross-country ski, you downhill ski. That's what people do for recreational fun. And if you're really good at it, then you join the Olympics. And they're not alienating anybody. This whole thing is so stupid. But the AP, they have to make it look like everybody's racist. Everybody's bad, not only Americans, but now the Swedes.
Yeah, it should have a monarchical right to snowshoes if you break into Sweden.
But you did mention that book or the movie. What was it called? Heavy Petting? What's it called?
Heavy Petting?
Heavy Petting.
Yeah, I think it's High Sticking.
High Sticker? No, like some with the gay hockey players?
Yes.
What's it called?
Oh, my God.
It's called...
Mortal Enemies or...
No, it's Fire and Ice. I don't know what it is.
Love you, bro.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, well, so I literally just got back from Italy because my son's studying there.
Oh,
and when I was in the hotel room because I love to watch local news wherever I am. They were talking about Mamdani, his plea to people when the snowstorm came was that he said, everybody just stay inside because it's cold out, there's snow, and why don't you all read a good book, the gay hockey movie book. I'm not kidding you. And then the anchor tried not to, the gay hockey movie. Or watch the gay hockey movie or read the book about two star-crossed lovers on rival teams who fall in love and can't control their passion.
Yeah.
And then the anchor started laughing, and she was literally like biting her tongue. And I thought, oh, I didn't hear that. I mean, have you guys heard that here in America? Or did that just make the news overseas?
What if instead of reading the gay hockey book, I watched clips of the pansexual figure skater? Would that be okay?
Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, it's heated rivalry, by the way.
Yeah, and indeed it is.
But do you remember how controversial the opening of the Olympics were, a couple of years ago? And I wonder if they're going to do the same sort of thing, like all this sophistry towards the LGBTQ community. And who knows, are they going to do ice out stuff or what's going to happen? That's what I'm curious about.
Is Bad Bunny performing at the opening ceremony for that too, or just the Super Bowl? I don't know. Yeah.
Hey, he might be a last minute addition. You never know.
No, with the Swedish Olympic team though. What was I going to ask you about that?
I'll give you time to gather your thoughts.
No. You said you covered the Olympics before. I forgot about that. Did you cover the Olympics with Don Lemon? Full circle.
He was not out there. I was with Marion Brooks and some other people, but Kelly performed. R. Kelly performed, and that was controversial because that's when it first started coming out about his nefarious actions against children.
Yeah,
but they still let him. But they still let him perform. But Marion Brooks got the exclusive interview with him. So then I had to get moved to cover something else. Whatever, long story. You don't need to hear the inside baseball. But the bottom line was they still let him perform at the Olympics because he wasn't charged.
If the native Sweden, skiers get ousted for some sort of Muslim that just showed up and got free lessons and all that, why they could just join the Chinese team like Eileen Fanggu did, right? The U.S.-born skier. She's representing the Chinese. Like, what the heck? Like, do they mean anything that you're actually from the country that you're representing? I guess it doesn't mean anything. You're just like the athlete for hire, right?
Right. Are they
like
recruited?
NIL.
That's what I always thought. I'm like, why is this Sweden-born national playing for Norway? Oh, he's a Norwegian resident. Oh, how did that happen? Like, I honestly think that they're recruiting.
Boy, the acrimony between the Swedes and the Norwegians continues.
It's always been a hostile relationship.
Yeah, I mean, that is intense. That is intense. Okay, all right. What else are you guys going to do? Like any sorts of skits or role-playing games, or what else can we look forward to on The Real Story? Is it just going to be hard news and Don Lemon stories?
We're going to do Why Dan Proft is Single once a week. That'll be the Wednesday segment. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Like point counterpoint. It's not a bad idea. That's not a bad. Give the distaff side a chance. I like that. All right, Jeanne Ives and Amy Jacobson. They're the hosts of The Real Story. Weekdays, 11 a.m. to noon, right here on AM 560. It begins today. Tune in. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
At Signature Bank, going the distance for business banking customers is what we do every day. We understand that business owners have a strategic mission, a drive to succeed, a plan for growth, and don't have time to wait for a bank to respond. With Signature Bank, you not only have a banking partner that has roots right here in Chicago, but our decisions are made locally too.